everybody? I want to welcome you back to Knicks Daily, baby. I'm your host, Shea, and you already know. We are first to many and second to no one. We're covering the news, team views, and the who's who connected to our New York Knicks. We had a great victory last night. It was a gutsy victory. It was an outstanding victory that our captain willed us to. And we're going to get into all of that here in Knicks Daily. But before I do, I want to welcome you all. If you're here for the first time, welcome. My name is Shea. I'm the owner. I'm the proprietor of Knicks Daily. Everybody eats here in Knicks Daily, all right? If you're returning to the channel, my KD community, welcome back. Let's go. Let me explain to you how it works. Here in Knicks Daily, there are 4 items on the menu. First item on the menu is the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't say the bacon, egg, and cheese. You gotta say the bacon, egg, and cheese. And that's 3 ingredients of the sandwich that really make this sandwich one of the best sandwiches in New York. So we call it the bacon, egg, and cheese, and we look at who are the 3 players that combined really came and made this thing work and help us get the victory. Next item on the menu is the dollar slice. Everybody knows New York pizza is famous around the world. And we're gonna look at the dollar slice. Who was the dollar slice of this game that helped us get this victory as well? And the third item on the menu is the chopped cheese. Everybody knows that the chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be bussin'. So we're gonna see who made a relatively new contribution or in some way really impacted the game and helped us get this victory. And last but not least, you can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. You can't even have the chopped cheese if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. And here in Knicks Daily, we call that the quarter water of the game. So we're gonna talk about who is that injection of energy, who really came in, whether it's in one quarter or over a period of quarters, that helped us, especially in this overtime victory, get us over the top and get this victory.
You're quarter water, that's it.
So that is the positive side of the menu here in Knicks Daily. Then you have that part of the menu that we serve to the people who we know are the ops. You know, you happen to get lost in our neighborhood, but you still need to eat. And here in Knicks Daily, everybody eats. So we're gonna feed you, okay? And we're gonna feed you. This goes out to the people who have something sideways to say. Somebody that may say something a little bit out of pocket. And you don't wanna be the stereotypical New Yorker and just tell them the STFU. We wanna still make sure we're cordial, but in a New York type of way. So we give them the glizzy of the game. Hey, yo is right. So the glizzy of the game will go to that person that we still want to engage, but we want to make sure we give them the appropriate STFU in the New York way. And that's who gets the glizzy of the game. And then we tie it up with the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. And the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game goes to a person in the game or outside of the game or connected to basketball in general that says something really off base and make you look at them sideways and be like, nah, son, nah, you wildin'. And then I'm gonna end it on the final thoughts. This is a complete Knicks Daily, baby. So I want you to strap up, sit down, put the napkin on the shirt so your stuff don't get wet, and enjoy, all right? So last night, the New York Knicks pulled out a very hard-fought victory. Bruh, once again, we got out to a slow start, but there's a reason for that. The New York Knicks were traveling from Orlando to get to Washington, D.C. They didn't get inside Washington, D.C. until 2:30 in the morning. So they were already playing not only on tired legs, but tired bodies in general, all right? And it really took overtime to overcome a pesky, ready to play Wizards team. But the Knicks got it done. The Knicks got it done. Overall, we had a 136 to 132 overtime victory and overtime thriller, all right, in back-to-back games. So that's something that could easily be looked at as a trap game. Also, something else that could make it be looked at as a trap game is the fact that they had their leading scorers injured. You know, the people who they would be considered their stars. They were injured. So this is a game that I think the Knicks in the past could really have looked at it and been like, you know, this is a cakewalk. We could do this half sleep and still body this team. And it wasn't that way. When you become a good team in this league, when you become a good team with the type of reputation on a type of stage that the New York Knicks are quickly accumulating, then you become a targeted team. And this team, although they only have 5 victories, they wanted one of their victories to be credible. They wanted one of their victories to be on these New York Knicks. They know what they were coming up against. A team also on a back-to-back, but a team flying in, arriving at 2:30. They knew what they were getting. And with them young boys on the other side, they felt if we could jump on this team early enough, we might be able to steal one. So that was the plan, and they were well on their way to doing that. Until the Knicks stood up and was just like, nah. You wildin'.
You're mad, I'm back.
We going for our 7 games. And that's exactly what they did. Knicks are now on a 7-game winning streak, and you gotta love it. We were close to a depressing Sunday morning, but we were able to avoid that on the back of the brother take, on the back of our captain, Jalen mother-flipping Brunson. So now we are 22-10 on the season, and look, it was hard fought. The Washington Wizards could not miss from the 3-point line, it seemed. We were looking at these cats like, why we always got to create stars? Cats want to play us and have career games. What are we doing? So that's what it was looking like. It's looking like these cats could not miss from the 3-point line. I would say that the New York Knicks, we got out to such a slow start, it seemed as if we were pacing ourselves. And, not to kind of battle on the brother, but I remember when we had Julius Randle, there would be times when that was his main complaint. People were always like, he's trotting up the floor. He's not really going at it full speed. And what he was doing was he was trying to conserve his energy because the makeup of the team at that time required for him to finish strong and to play strong throughout. So there were points that he was picking to conserve his energy. And it looked like that's what we were doing last night. It looked like we were trying to be strategic on how the energy was expended throughout the game. And, it caught us in several deficits throughout the game. And we got to be reminded that these players are human, so, as easy as it is for us to put together our, ready, our game day fits, and the snacks that we're going to have or the dinner that we're going to be making while we're watching the games, we just pulling up to the couch. These cats got to find a way to board the plane, travel from one city to another, get the treatment, get some game time review, rest, and get back at it. And we award them and we recognize them for diving on the floors, banging, bodies with 7-footers, in the paint, driving the lane, getting fouled, all those fouls not getting called, and we expect them to be ready for the next game. It's just not realistic. These cats are human. They get injured. They play their hearts out, and that's what we love about our squad. But, so it's a lot. It was a lot that could go into why they got off to a slow start. But once again, I say it again, when you're a good team, everyone wants to knock you off. And for the opposing team who may be facing the same challenges, they got a little bit of extra juice because, Jalen Brunson is in town. And, Josh Hart, and them New York boys, even Cat over there said, we them boys. So when you say stuff like that, you got them targets. And that's where the young Washington Wizards team came to play. So with that being said, man, star of the team, I'm going to say this, and I wrote this down, so let me read it. When we talk about the star of a team, basketball IQ is something that's hard to quantify, all right? It's almost like porn. It's hard to describe, but you recognize it when you see it. And that's basketball IQ. You just know when it pops off of the screen, a player that has it. You also know it pops off of the screen, a player that doesn't have it. And look, y'all, some people are gonna get mad at me. Julius Randle did not have it. In fact, Knicks fans knew he didn't have it because we could recognize it. Moments where we would be like, yo, what are you doing, bro? What are you, that spin move don't work.
Necessary spin move. Unnecessary spin move.
You know that spin move don't work. What are you doing? And then even Carmelo Anthony, who didn't, in the game, obviously he's a star. Obviously he has a skill set. Julius has a skill set. But there were moments where it's just like, you got to know when it's not your time, when it's time to let other people shine. And there were missed opportunities there for Carmelo with that. There were missed opportunities with Porzingis. There were missed opportunities with Jeremy Lin and Amari Stoudemire. When the ball sticks, it speaks to either your trust in your teammates or your basketball IQ. That's when it's palpable. Even with Patrick. Now, in Patrick's time, it was more so the coaches call every play. So all that can be put on him. And in order to win, let's be honest, we didn't have that much talent around Patrick. He had to go out there and do what he did. So that's why you never really associate, he's never really had to be put in a position where the basketball IQ, outside of just instinctual, outstanding Hall of Fame talent, had to take over, all right? But what we're seeing with Jalen Brunson, just like we saw it with Mike. When we played with Mike, it was almost like, damn, we're going to overload on him and we're going to try to shut him down. He's going to find a teammate. When we shut down the team and let him score, he's going to score 60. How do you beat? Because he's always 2 or 3 steps ahead of where we are. And the same thing with Kobe, which is why he has 5 rings. And as much as I hate to say, it's the same thing with LeBron. Where LeBron is like, yeah, if I need to power in and score a number of points, I recognize that the mismatch, you can't stop me. Or I'm going to kick it out and let my teammates beat you. And we're going to win as a balanced team. But he can see it unfolding before a lot of teams and even a lot of coaches. And that's what we're starting to see in Jalen Brunson. New York Knicks fans, you got to recognize what it is you're watching. You have to recognize that when a player like Jalen Brunson drops 55, it is the same type of feeling for their fans that we experienced when Michael Jordan was dropping the double nickel on Madison Square Garden. When Kobe Bryant was dropping 61 on Madison Square Garden. When Reggie Miller scored whatever he kind of scored in 8 seconds. That is the feeling, that depleting, deflating feeling that the fans got. We gave to the Wizards fans tonight because of Jalen Brunson, because of Jalen Brunson's basketball IQ, because of Jalen Brunson's ability to read the game and know if my team don't have it, and I know that they can't guard me, I need to punish this team. And I'm going to tell you the moment that happened, the kid George on the other team, when he hit a couple of 3-pointers, he started feeling himself, and he was like, ah. You know what I mean? So he took the Jalen Selly and he pointed at him almost like, that's an homage. I see you, my guy, you my guy. But Brunson don't look at it that way. He was just like, oh, that's what we doing? Oh, that's what we doing? Hold my beer. And the man went off for 55. So this is the piece that I love. It was that type of night. It was an exhausting roller coaster ride for Knicks fans. I know y'all was with me, but Jalen Brunson provided the same thing that the Chicago Bulls fans received, the Lakers fans received, and now I think it's a step towards what New York Knicks fans can expect. A player that knows how to recognize the flow of the game and when or where he should impact it. So if we're talking about let's get into it, let's get into the menu. Who is the bacon, egg, and cheese of the game? So the bacon of the game is Jalen mother-flipping Brunson. Round of applause for our guy, JB, the Undertaker, Jalen Brunson. As I said earlier, Jalen Brunson dropped 55 of those things on the Washington Wizards. You better stop playing with this kid. The NBA, I have a message for you right now. You better stop playing with this kid. Because ultimately what you're finding is that this kid is realizing you ain't gonna double me. You gonna try to let somebody play me one-on-one? Oh, nah, son, nah. You wildin'. Let me change this lighting a little bit. Let me see what works a little bit better. There we go. He's like, nah, son, nah. You wildin'. I'm gonna bust this kid's behind. I'm gonna bust this dude's. You wildin' if you think this cat can guard me one-on-one. He was cooking Brogdon. He sized him up from the very beginning, was just like, oh, let me pull you out in the water and then drown you and blow right past you for the layup. Repeatedly. He did it with the kid in Orlando the previous night. You know what I mean? So he's already made several rotations around the NBA earth, and he knows what to expect with these cats that guard him. It's on the coaches not to recognize it, that this cat is a juggernaut waiting to happen. And you open that genie, you rub that genie can, it's hard to get it back in the bottle. And he broke out with 55 points, man. 42 of them things were in the second half. Once again, that speaks to 13 points in the first half, reading the game, what's needed. I talked about Josh Hart being a player that when you say the game will tell you what to do, and his face is in there in the dictionary, and you're like, look, Jalen Brunson, when it says the game will tell you what to do, his name, his face is in the dictionary right next to it, like, you know, so this is also a testament that these players really bought in and really buy in to the teachings of Tom Thibodeau. Yeah, y'all can say I'm glazing Thibs. I don't care, okay? Glaze. Thibs is a hell of a coach, and these players have bought into his system. And if they continue to do it, he's going to prove that you can win a championship by his teachings. And the NBA is a copycat league, and I'm telling you, we win a chip, you're going to have other teams talking about, yeah, you know, we're going to be like the Knicks. We're going to structure our team like the Knicks. We're going to make moves like the Knicks. And we're going to, you know, the game will tell you what to do. They're going to start quoting Thibs. So, yeah, Jalen Brunson was dominant last night. Dominant. Second most points in a game for him in his career was dropped last night. 13 points in the third. Also, the man, he played 44 minutes. Several starters played 44 minutes, but that's what's needed. He's an Iron Man, and very important when you play that number of minutes, having played the previous night, and you still have the mental capacity, the mental fortitude to go 16 of 17 from the free throw line. That is a level of focus and concentration that you really only can expect from your superstar player, that you can really only expect from the captain of your team, the leader of your team. That level of focus and concentration is what's called for. And you have to recognize it for what it is. Once again, it was sheer will that got us this victory. Because without all 55 of his points, I told you, the final score was 136 to 132. 136 to 132. We needed all 55 of this man's points, his sheer will, to get us this victory. You know, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. We are lucky as Knicks fans right now because we have more than 25 years of desolation. We have had more than 25 years of humiliation. We were the foot carpet, the foot wipe, the welcome mat, the unwelcome mat that every other NBA fan base, that every point of NBA media would wipe their feet on in terms of the disrespect, not only to the team, but to us fans, which is why we started creating our own media. All these media channels, etc., NBA, shout out to CP, the franchise, shout out to Nothing But Knicks. All of these New York Knicks media outages, really, they started a little bit before the pandemic, but they really laid the foundation. That's where my inspiration for my channel came from during the pandemic. And we changed the narrative for our own team, for our own players, because we started producing media that spoke more positive. We watched all the games. They're still reporting on the New York Knicks without having watched games. And Screaming A. Smith is the biggest culprit, okay? But what we're seeing now is a superstar. And I was telling people way ahead of time, don't wait until the media calls this cat a superstar before we start calling him a superstar. We got a superstar. And last night was a superstar effort. So round of applause for the bacon of the bacon egg and cheese here in Knicks Daily this morning. Jalen mother flipping Brunson. Next up, who's the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese? The egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese is our guy, Big Perm.
What's up, Big Perm?
Karl Anthony Towns. Round of applause for our guy, Karl Anthony Towns. A second superstar. New York Knicks fans, our prayers have been answered. Our gift was wrapped under the tree this year for Christmas. Karl Anthony Towns was placed side by side with Jalen Brunson to provide our 1 and 2 punch. We got the LeBron Anthony Davis on our squad. We got a superstar on our squad. And many of you can't be like, well, I don't know if he's a superstar, straight up swap for Julius. You telling me that was an equal trade with Julius and Cat? That's what you telling me? That's what you telling me? Is that what you telling me? Because I'm going to tell you this much. They can't guard Cat, which is why they're fouling him. And you know how he's a superstar? He'll be a superstar really officially once he starts getting the calls. They don't know how to call. They don't know how to call the game on him yet. The referees are still trying to figure out how do you officiate him. And you know who had the same problem with that in this league? Shaquille O'Neal.
Aha! Aha!
And I know you're like, oh shit, you bugging now. Now you comparing Shaq to Karl Anthony Towns in a different way, but yes, because he's dominating the game in a different way. What I love about Cat's game, what I love about last night's game, let me stay on track. What I love about last night's game is he still got into early foul trouble, but he figured out how to stay engaged, involved, and productive to the tune of dropping 30 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 assists, even being in early foul trouble. He had a huge game last night alongside Brunson. You know Brunson had a mega game when 30 points and 14 rebounds, it's like, oh, he did good too. You know, that's crazy. You know he had a crazy game when somebody drops 30 points and 14 rebounds and they're the afterthought. But I love watching Karl Anthony Towns play basketball. He stayed aggressive after the fouls, and he has a great mix of modern and classic basketball style. One thing after really doing the research, once I found out we were going to get Karl Anthony Towns in the trade, I really had to shut the F up. I really had to sit there and dine on the glizzy of the game, because I really had gotten them all wrong. I had made criticisms about him without doing my research. His game has elements of Patrick Ewing in it. The man has a post-up game, hook shots. He got mid-range. He got a midi. He got a three-point shot. There's nothing he drives. There's nothing he can't do with the basketball. There is nothing he can't do with the basketball. And a lot of it is on the display night from night. And something I'm going to end with in terms of him getting this egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese this morning. Did you see he made that kid touch earth last night? He hit him with the little cross, the little hesitation cross on the three-point line, stood back.
Crazy work.
And that kid touched earth. I'm like, oh. He had that arena going crazy with the ooh-ahs. And with that being said, let's put our hands together for Karl Anthony Towns. You, my guy, are the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese here in Knicks Deli. Round of applause. And lastly, who is the cheese of the game? Who is the third ingredient of that sandwich that comes together to make it the best sandwich in New York State? And the cheese of the game is actually going to go to my guy, Josh Mother Flippin' Hart. Round of applause for our guy, Josh Hart. Yeah, we're going to have to start calling this man Double King. We're going to have to start calling him Double King or Triple King. But last night he showed up once again at the tune of 13 points, 13 rebounds from the best rebounding guard in the NBA on your New York Knicks. The only thing that I can say after watching each game with Josh Hart is thank you, Cam Reddish, because we actually got this kid for Cam Reddish. You remember that? And in addition to that is that we have a championship piece. It is hard to not look at how Josh Hart impacts the game and say he is really going to be chronicled in NBA history as a championship piece. He does all of the little things. He sets the tone for us. He sets the energy level for us. His play alone speaks so loudly, and it says New York. The man's style, the man's play, his personality, all of that, all of the things that kind of seemed quirky when he first arrived, he learned to really tweak and embody New York, and he's really just being himself. And that's another thing that you appreciate about this team and the closeness of this team. They allow each other to be themselves. I even see, like just something else that's new, just new in terms of the personality. It's almost like you got all the, the team, all the members of the team who weren't part of that personality vibe out. And everybody in here who's awkward or quirky but excellent in terms of play are allowed to be themselves. I saw in terms of the early introduction routine for the little dances that they do when they do in the handshake line. They had OG looking real awkward with his little dance. And I was sitting there laughing, man. I'm like, you love to see that. Even with Mikal Bridges making these weird little faces or whatever and engaging with the other team's bench. I love that. Let those kids let them be kids, bro. As long as they dominate, as long as they win, let them be. And that's something I think Josh Hart really empowers and emboldens the team to do. He's a championship piece, and he's become a product of Tom Tibido. He does everything Tom Tibido needs him to do. Everything. And as a result of it, the man has elevated himself in the eyes of the league. It's almost a Draymond Green type of effect. When you looked at Draymond Green and be like, Ninja, you are not the same as a Steph Curry. You are not the same as a Klay Thompson. But he's absolutely necessary for those titles because he was bringing what those other stars couldn't bring or didn't bring. Undersized power forward. But he's like the intimidator of the team. He's going to be the one to take on the assignment to guard the centers on the other team, which made that team possible because they didn't have a traditional big. They had an undersized person at center that allowed the flow of the game to take place, the cutting, the screening. And if we're being honest, a lot of what it is that we're doing, minus the historic three-point shooting, is similar to the Golden State Warriors in terms of our movement and our schemes. Back cuts, slash into the basket, push the ball in transition, get back on defense. A lot of it are elements of, and triangle offense, if we're going to be clear. So round of applause for our guy, the cheese of the game, Josh motherflipping Hart. Now, before I get to, you got the dollar slice up next, do me a favor, like this video. Click the subscribe button, share it with your friends. We want to grow this thing out. We quickly went from 1,300 subscribers, by the time I began my vacation to 1,500. That's kind of crazy. It's only been a few days. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. I want to thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. We're trying to grow this thing out. Any of your support helps me grow the channel. But do me a favor, hit that like button, okay? Next up on the menu, who is the dollar slice of the game? Everybody knows New York is the best pizza in the world. In the world. I used to live in Indiana and we were close to Chicago. They used to try to claim they had the best pizza. Keep telling them that's a lasagna dish. That ain't pizza. New York has the best pizza in the world because the pizza symbolizes stability. It's a stabilizing factor to the culture of New York. So who is the stabilizing factor to this game? And the stabilizing factor to this game, the dollar slice of the game, is Mikal Bridges. Round of applause for our guy, Mikal Bridges. Yeah, Mikal is doing something special. He's doing something special. He's continuing game after game after game to build on where he left off the last game. Progress to a tune of 21 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. But something that we're all seeing with our very eyes is him getting so comfortable now on defense. The man got orangutan arms. I keep telling you, sorry about that. The man got orangutan arms. So what you're seeing is him disrupting passing lanes and real quick tapping that thing out. It's almost like Wingstop. Our Wingstop combination with him and OG are competing. Who can get the most steals? Who can make the most defensive plays? Man, he's starting to become what was advertised. Exactly what it is that we needed. Is he a third option? Is OG the third option? The team is the third option. I said it before. And OG is his tag team partner in crime. But Mikal Bridges, today, because of his defense and because of his offensive contribution, knowing exactly when he needs to step up to be balanced to the other two scorers, is why he gets the dollar slice here at Knicks Deli today. So round of applause once again for our guy, Mikal Bridges. Next item on the menu is the chopped cheese. Who gets the chopped cheese here at Knicks Deli? Everybody knows that this is a relatively new item to the New York menu, but that thing be busting. So the chopped cheese is actually going to go once again to Tom Tibido. I don't care. Okay? Tom Tibido, you get the chopped cheese today. Come on to the front, my guy. Tom Tibido, we had this overtime game. Now you think about the Hard-fought game that was in Orlando, 2:30 in the morning. You play this scrappy team. You can't lack focus as the coach or the coaching staff in a game like this where the Wizard Boys came to play. So this was clearly an example that Tom Tibido coached through the tape. When you think about the runners in a race, you don't want to pull up a few steps before you get to the tape. You trying to run through the tape to ensure that you get the victory. And this is what Tom Tibido did as a coach last night. He coached his tail off, not only through regulation, but through overtime until the last minute. And many of the Knicks fans I'm seeing after the fact, now that you've secured the victory, now you want to look and criticize. Tom Tibido is going to wear these players out, or we ain't even going to get to the playoffs. They're going to be gassed by the playoffs. Stop worrying about that. The goal is to get to the playoffs. Let that man do what he's been doing, being successful, having already secured 2 coaches of the year in this league. Next up is a championship. If we win a championship, you ain't going to be talking about none of that. Michael Jordan played 82 of them games. 82 of them games and went all the way to the championship. Stop complaining. Why are you on one hand you babying these players, and on the other hand you asking for them to be tough. You asking for them to represent New York. Stop babying the players. Why don't you let Coach Thibs do his job? That's it. Let that man do his job. And he coached through the tape last night. Yeah, there was a player that had 47 minutes. Yeah, there was a player that played 44 minutes. Yeah, there was a player that played 42 minutes. But yeah, we needed all the minutes to get the victory. We won by 4. Coach Thibs coached through the tape. And I'm going to tell you this much. I keep telling y'all, I created a video saying who is the next star that Coach Tom Tibido is going to create. How else do you think players make the All-Star game? They make the All-Star game based on their numbers, correct? It's hard to overlook them on their numbers, correct? We have 1 month left before All-Star break, and even shorter of a time for them to elect All-Star players. And you know the fans only care about numbers. They don't really watch games. Them fans in China don't watch games. They look at your numbers. Who get the most ESPN highlights? Who's racking up the most wins? Unfortunately, they don't look at it for pure talent. We've been a victim of our players missing a team in the past because of that. So Tom Tibido knows that. When the players have the numbers, then they get the accolades. When they get the accolades, then they get the endorsements. They get all those things that come along with winning in this league. And you let them win by keeping the team that you have the most confidence and trust in to secure that victory. So represent, shout out the chopped cheese of today here at Knicks Deli, Tom Mother Flippin' Tibido. And I don't care if you don't like it. Round of applause for my guy, Thibs. My guy, Thibs. Talk about my coach. Next up, you can't have the chopped cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. And here at Knicks Deli, we call that the quarter water of the game. So who gets the quarter water of the game? And the quarter water of the game goes to my guy, Precious Atou. Round of applause for our guy, Precious Atou. Yeah. Precious Atou man, he's been a saving grace actually for the season, because the backup center has been an important role that we've need to have this season so far, with Mitch being on the shelf. So Precious Atou, his stat line may not blow you away at 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 points, but he's also a tone setter. He's energetic. He brings that energy. He brings that defense. He brings the deflections, and he even discourages people from going into the paint. And last night, I could have sworn there was going to be a raid at that center in what is it, the MCI center? What do they call the Wizard Center? I swear SWAT was about to roll through there because the man caught a body last night. Did you see that? The man caught a body last night, and he was expressionless. He knew what he did. He knew he was guilty. That man cocked that thing back, boom, and just held the look like, even OG was just like, hey. So round of applause for our guy, the quarter water of the game, for the body alone, Precious Atou. Round of applause for Precious Atou. Now that we got all the positive items off of the menu, we're about to close the deli. But somebody just walked in. They're not on a Wizards jersey. They're clearly the ops. They know they ain't going to get the genuine smile. But we're going to give them the head nod and say, look, you about to close up the grill, what you want? They're going to be like, what you got? And we're going to be like, I got the perfect thing for you. We got the glizzy of the game. So who gets the glizzy of the game here in Knicks Deli today? And the glizzy of the game goes to the young guy. I don't even know his first name, but his last name is George, right? And that was the young kid that hit a couple of threes early. And the Wizards were rolling. He was feeling good about himself. He was looking, and then he hit 1 3, and he threw up the alternate Brunson. He threw up the 3, to the Brunson. And then he licked the joint. I don't even know what that was about. And we know the origins of Brunson he won't talk about. So I think we all know, but he did an alternate version, almost like the taunt Brunson. And what you did was you woke up Godzilla, bro. Because you did that early. And it seemed like after that, Brunson sat back like, and I took that personal. And that's when Brunson went on his tear. He tore you a new... He went on his tear. He dropped 55 of them things on you, young boy. So the glizzy of the game, my guy. Because you took your moment and your attempt to glizzy the situation, he just added the glaze. And he sat back and watched you and said, enjoy that thing. And that's what we're going to do here at Knicks Deli. We're going to allow you to sit back and enjoy that thing. So relax. Let us serve you up. Courtesy of Jalen Mother Flippin' Brunson. Enjoy, my guy. Enjoy. Yeah. Good job. All right. All right, so the glizzy of the game goes to that kid, George, for taunting Jalen Brunson, who ultimately dropped to 55 on him, okay? And lastly, who gets the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game? Nah, son, nah, you wildin'. They go to Knicks fans for the second straight game, taking over another Ops arena. Let's go. We saw the Knicks jerseys inside the Wizards arena. We heard the chants. Round of applause to you guys. We are a traveling fan base, and I'm loving every moment of it. When we were down for 25 years, bro, when we were so disrespected for 25 years, we had Laker fans coming to the Garden in purple and gold. There were a couple of times I was sick. I saw more purple and gold jerseys coming in to the MSG. We actually had, there was a tiny period where we had Brooklyn Nets fans trying to come in, taking over. Like, what? Yup, wait, we are not letting that happen. And even Houston fans, when we had Yao Ming and everybody taking over, and there was a lot of Houston fans coming in, red jerseys. So it feels good that the New York Knicks are now back on top, calling other arenas MSG South, MSG North or West. You know what I mean? So shout out to the New York Knicks fans. You guys are getting my affectionate nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. Nah, son, nah. Yo, y'all really wildin'. So that's it. That is the menu here at Knicks Deli. My parting thoughts is, damn, we really are on a 7-game win streak. We needed it. It was hard fought. Hopefully, and this is the case, Thibs is not having them do nothing. No walkthrough, no nothing. Rest your bodies. Get treatment. We are back at it on Monday. So get treatment multiple times. Eat well. Sleep. Let your bodies try to recover as much as possible because we have the Wizards once again, I believe, on Monday. But my parting thoughts is this. The New York Knicks are the hottest team in the East right now. We are the hottest team in the East right now, and we are the most dangerous team in the NBA right now. We're dangerous because of our chemistry. We're dangerous because of our versatility. We're dangerous because of our mindset, and that we don't care who gets the buckets, that we celebrate each other. You see Karl Anthony Towns posted a picture of Jalen Brunson on his Instagram last night. That type of willingness to celebrate somebody else who had a dynamic game. Look, I'm gonna just keep saying it. You wouldn't have seen that from Julius. You wouldn't have seen that from Carmelo. You wouldn't have seen that from RJ. I'm sorry, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Yeah, I'm taking shots. I don't care. Because when a player like that who is able to drop 30 and 14 don't feel slighted, don't feel as if he doesn't get enough of the shine, and is able to celebrate his teammate, the captain, who he outwardly calls Cap. I'm showing deference to you. I respect what you do, and I appreciate the fact that I only need that spotlight. We're on a good pace. That's what makes us one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA, and that's it. I know there's a lot of Knicks fans who are nervous Nellies about the minutes. Will we going to be injured by the playoffs? F that. Sit back and celebrate and enjoy this squad and what we're doing. Let's dominate. Do you think that the Bulls said that during their 72-win run? Do you think that the Warriors said that during their 73-win run? What are you talking about? Y'all act like y'all been here before. None of y'all been here before. None of us been here before. So just enjoy the ride. Let the man rock. And if he does something that's a detriment to the team, then he's going to get Mike Brown. So let it happen. Stop trying to be GM. Stop trying to be owner when you stay crapping on the owner. All right? Sit back, enjoy, relax. Everybody eats here at Knicks Deli. Don't get the glizzy in the game. Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. But remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here at Knicks Deli, everybody eats. I'm your boy Shit, and I'm out. Peace.